Let's move to the final presentation for Lake Edward and Albert Advisory Group. And just checking here, I cannot see Herbert in, but we have quite a number of members here, including Madam Joyce. So I'll also take the audience through that quickly. Royce, if you could share the final one for Lake Edward and Albert. Thank you. So as we wrap up this session, this is the final presentation for the critical objectives for 2022. And this is in reference to Lake Edward and Albert Advisory Group, which is led by Professor Mbalasa and co-led by Mr. Herbert Nakiende. So one of their critical objectives for 2022 is to increase the membership with active participation. And the membership of Lake Edward and Albert had grown from DRC and Uganda. Right now, they have a total of 11 members, and they would want to see this membership increased, and they also want to see that their members are active. So the approach for that is they would want to conduct awareness through in-person meeting, which they have also planned to take place in either Uganda or in DRC. The outcome of that is they want to improve the functioning of the advisory group through having more active members, and they will need some financial support to ensure that the meeting takes place. 2 is they would like to develop a management plan for the basin, and this will be done through consultation. I think there was something missing there, but it's through consultative work by the local communities, the local scientists, local experts, and other resource users. The outcome of that is to see enhanced implementation of the management intervention. This is the area that we are also aware of the existence of the lake, the LEAF 2 project, which has been taking place. And I think now they're transitioning to LEAF 3 from some of the reports we've read. And they will need some financial resources to help support development of this management plan for the Lake Edward and Albert Basin. Members of Lake Edward and Albert Advisory Group, please, if any of you would have some inputs, just to add on to what I've shared from your co-lead, please feel free to chime in. So with that silence, I believe we've come to the end of yes.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Gutu.
Yes, I just wanted to make a few comments about Edward and Albert. Of course, these 2 lakes are under one working group, but of course they're distinctly different and they have different challenges. Yeah, it is good that the team plans to prepare a management plan for the basin, and it would be good for them at least to look first of all at the entire basin, and then secondly at the individual lakes, that is Edward / George, and then of course Albert. And of course, Albert has a lot of challenges, especially with the emerging or exploitation, and then of course the increasing fisheries. So I just want to make that emphasis. Of course, I lead a team which is helping in preparing management plans, and one of our plans for over the next year will be to prepare draft fisheries management plans for the different major lakes, starting with those in Eastern Africa, and we would be willing to collaborate with CARE in doing that, not only on Albert and Edward, but on the other lakes. Yeah, I don't know whether I can use my chance to make a general comment about the presentations. I must apologize. I was off. My computer was up country in the last days, but I think this is a good start. Of course, making sure that there is science for management of the lakes and for production, to make sure that there is these lakes, the uses of these lakes are actually enhanced. what I haven't seen in this, maybe I missed it since I missed the other meetings, is the common goal towards which all these monitorings, all these trainings and so forth are working. I think it's important that this is highlighted to avoid the different groups digressing from a common goal, a common purpose, a common mission. Yeah, that's what I observed. I also noted that people are looking at standards for the different lakes. The different regional institutions, especially LVFO, have developed standard operating procedures for a lot of things that are done on our lakes, a lot of monitoring, both of the fisheries and of the environment. I think, and some of these have already been adopted by other regional organizations like Lake Tanganyika Authority. I think what is important is for ICARE and others are working on in this region to see the extent at which they can adapt the existing, first of all, find out what is on the ground and how they can be adapted and actually strengthened. I would like to stop there. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Gutu, for your wonderful remarks and inputs. Yesterday, just to touch base on what you've talked about in terms of lake specific, yesterday we had presentations from different basins and we looked at different approaches, including LVFO. And so we are trying to encourage people to borrow ideas and incorporate and integrate in other regions. Also, ICARE is working on overall manuscript that's trying to touch on some of the aspects you've talked about in terms of harmonization and standardization of some of these processes and lessons learned across the basin. So this is so encouraging, and thank you so much for your support. We look forward to having more discussions with you. Finally, Dr. Walakira, we are just in 1 minute, kindly.
Okay, I don't know if we are discussing all the presentations. Is that what we are, or just specifically on Edward? And are we discussing both?
We were on the Lake Edward and Albert as a summary, but if you have one on overall presentations, then please just make it in 1 minute.
Yes, thank you very much, Zeph. Maybe on the overall presentation, I would say there's a common language where people are saying resources, we lack resources, we need help in this, we need help with financial resources. But I would think maybe we could also approach it in a way, the economic sense. How much does the Great Lakes provide the member states? And that way we can invoke the Malebo Declaration, where we say a percentage is given to this sector, the resources, the fisheries sector, the water sector. And that way we can plow back into research and development, rather than every time begging for money for development partners. Yet we have the resources which is even generating enough money for our member states. Probably as ICARE, as an advocate and an advocacy platform, we could interest the governments, member states, to at least plow back into research and development so that we stop this issue of, it becomes a sustainable industry, including research and development. That's my view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Walakira, for that. I will invite Ted to just give a 1 minute response to your comment about the evaluation and presenting the need. Then we wrap up the session. Ted.
Thanks, Zeph and John. My apology, I think I missed the crux of the question as I was typing another response. Can you repeat that very quickly?
Yeah, Dr. Walakira.
I can also just respond in the chat if necessary, because I know that we are working on a schedule here.
Yeah, I think what Dr. Walakira mentioned is that instead of all the time each of the regions or each of the basins asking for money from donors, then we could present this in terms of economics of, I would call it investment vis-a-vis output, so that a large fundings to be able to sustain the projects, and we could present it to the partner states so that they could see the need for investing in the local water bodies to sustain our funding base and also for the lakes.
Yeah, I agree. The intention of ACARE is to move away from piecemeal and smaller investments, because when that happens, it's oftentimes not multi-jurisdictional in nature, like the whole lake. Sometimes it's just on one country. And then as we've been talking, and it's demonstrated quite well in all of our comments, both in the chat and as what we're saying, is that each lake is trying to do one or two things, and a lot of them encompass such things as monitoring or education and training. And whereas I think Fabrice was talking about them having a summer school, with some addressing some issues, that's an amazing idea. But if it's just directed towards Lake Kivu, I would imagine if we pool our resources, we could have a summer school or a semester or something, some kind of training session where we bring in people from all of the African Great Lakes and not just Kivu. However, there is merit where we just focus on one lake. For example, I think Yepe and a few others came up with what's happening on Lake Kivu in terms of monitoring. And it was evaluated that there needs to be more communication, which ACARE is trying to do. And so in that sense, you would put resources to a lake specifically. Anyway, I got off topic, and I will go back to you, Zeph.